Hey, we're going over diagonal arpeggios from as applied to minor swing. So really, I'm thinking just two arpeggios, but there's a couple shapes. First of all, the A minor 6 diagonal is this. Here's A, C, E, and F sharp. 1, flat 3, 5, 6. So to me, that diagonal method, once you get the first two strings, then you just, it's easy, well, relatively speaking. Assuming you know that you're going A, E, this is the important part. A, E, A, E, A, E. This is very important for the fretboard. And then you add in the other intervals accordingly. Minor third, whole step. That's a 5, 6. Minor third, whole step. That's A minor 6. Descending is a little bit tricky. I'll do it slow. And then here's D minor 6. I'm going to start here. And I just start on the 10th fret because it's the same shape. The trick, though, you can check out my etudes, and I have it written also the diagonal method for Bossa Dorado, where I start D minor 6 here on the 5th degree. So it's this is a different pattern. You're going to go 5, 6, 1, flat 3. So that way you can stay in position. A minor 6, D minor 6. And then for the E7, we're going to start on the leading tone, which is a 3rd degree, G sharp, and here's the diagonal. And that pretty much everybody probably already knows that. They're studying Django Reinhardt. That's what I call the diagonal method, and it really kind of comes from that diminish as the parental form. Because Django used that so much. So to me, it's like, well, if you do that with diminish, why not do it with minor 6? D minor 6. Again, the D minor 6 is special because I'm starting on the 5th degree here and not the root here. If the root's over here on the 6th string, so diminish 7 on E7. And for the E7, some people on minor swing will play B flat 7. It's the same diminished 7. That's the beauty of that. It doesn't matter. So it's still going to sound good whether the rhythm player's doing this or this. And make sure you practice ascending and descending. So it's really kind of a beautiful system and technique, fretboard, to get those diagonal arpeggios. You have a lot of fun, especially getting some, low to high really quick, kind of the virtuoso style. So that's how I would apply it to minor swing, the diagonal arpeggios. So, of course, I love the diagonal arpeggios for minor swings, more virtuoso, but where I usually start with students, instead of all the fancy stuff, is just staying in one position, and I call it the easy arpeggio method. Easy arpeggio, that's just face value. So A minor 6, D minor 6, E7, A minor 6. Do it everywhere. D minor 6, A minor 6, E7, A minor 6. Maybe start on 6. On this. So I'll bend into that 6. I love that. That half step bend into the 6 from the flat 6. So on the A minor 6, we like this. To bend into that note. So very Django to do the bending. So there I did E7 like this. Or this. Or this. Or this. Again, it's nice to have these fingerings worked out, these different fingerings. 1 octave arpeggio, what I call face value. I know there's some question about face value. Face value means this. You see A minor 6, you play A minor 6. You see D minor 6, you play D minor 6. You see E7, you play D7. As opposed to substitution. So the most popular substitution is you see E7, you play G sharp dim 7. Or D dim 7. Or F dim 7. They're all the same. So there's some theory behind that substitution, but that also is really nice. So if I did the dim 7, this is all written out on Patreon, easy arpeggios. This is probably study number 2. for minor swing, for example, where I'm doing the diminished sub, D minor, diminish it. So I took that D minor 6 and I diminished it. That means the 5th only changes like this. That's all. That's for the E7. There's E. That's a diminished 7. That's E7 flat 9. And then back to A minor 6. Take it through the song, A minor 6. I'm going to go to the leading tone, A minor. When I said leading tone, that means the G sharp, the 3rd degree of the E7. That's a half step below the A. And G sharp dim 7 is the same as B dim, is the same as D dim 7, is the same as F dim 7. They're all the same 4 notes. That's the beauty of the diminished 7. So you could be anywhere and connect those dim 7s on that E7 chord. Again, that should be played all over the fretboard. That's a huge study. A minor 6, D minor 6, E7 face value, A minor 6, D minor 6, with the A minor 6. Leading tone. Now I'm going to actually do the diagonal, and start to connect. And then you can, pretty soon you're going to have so much fun just kind of using those 2 techniques, the diagonal and the easy arpeggio. So next, well, actually this is the first. The first thing I always say to students is just a triad. Just triad and triad embellishment. And enclosures is a part of that embellishment. Enclosure. But the triad is just this. I'll say E, triad, A minor, A minor, D minor, E7. I'm just doing triad, A minor, D minor, A minor. Now I'm doing the lower neighbor tone, E. Now I'm doing some enclosures. So I start off with just only going through this song with essentially one finger. D minor. This helps me visualize E and navigate the progression. A minor, D minor, A minor, all over the fretboard. E, A minor. And then I have a routine. It's called Gypsy Jazz Boot Camp Day 1. It might be day 2 or day 3. But and then here's the enclosure, the lower neighbor, D minor. You got to navigate through the progression. That's the fun part. A minor. That was a little connector ending lick. E. Then I say upper neighbor, D minor, E half step. I call it the caravan hack. D minor, A minor. I'm all over the fretboard at this point, but I'm still visualizing. This is, if you're wondering, how do I do that? You gotta do this first. A minor, A minor, A minor. You gotta know your triads, D minor shapes, chord shapes, D minor, D minor, E, E. I'm just doing 3 notes here. A minor, D minor, A minor. So again, this is a huge study, just triads. It's so beautiful, but this connects to so many other things too. Like now I'm playing chords. That will help you with chord melody and, you know, harmonization and everything. So, and then E, I was doing that little caravan hack. That's the upper neighbor from the E, the F triad. And then, so then I start to piece these together. This is number 3 on the embellishment worksheet. Again, this is a big, huge study, but one approach is the triad method. My favorite approach for minor swing is, I call this the Mona Lisa. You know this. So now I'm starting on the chord tone, below it, above it, and then resolve. And I go A minor, D minor, E, half steps above, A minor, D minor. Again, I'm just working through the fretboard. A minor, E, and there at the very end I went like this for the E. I went. I actually have a nickname for that beautiful enclosure. I call it a la Django, because Django did that one quite a bit. So I'm going. Here's A minor. You gotta target those triad notes, and then above it, below it, and then resolve to the triad note. D minor. E, I'm just doing half steps. A minor. And hopefully you can hear the progression going by, because I'm just targeting those chord tones, but it's fancied up a lot, you know. And then there's other beautiful enclosures, some chromatic, like you do a lot of different things with these triad and triad embellishments. I just nickname it embellishments. That includes all those enclosures. So that's a lot of stuff right there so far, and there's more to be added on. I'm going to talk just a second about this expansion of the triad idea. Really, it's called Triad Pairs. So I'm taking A minor and B minor. So we have this. We're really just connecting two triad pairs. So if you think of it starting on A and thinking of it ascending as if it's a scale, you get A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Or if we named it in numbers, 1, 2, that's a 9, beautiful note. Flat 3, 4, we can even call that 11, very kind of bluesy. 5, 6. We love these notes, such beautiful color notes. Got a 9, the 11. So you can hang on those non-chord tones, and 6, which is a chord tone. Okay, so those notes are beautiful. This is a great way to solo. And it's a 6-note scale. We just don't have the 7th degree, so it could be it's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, natural 6. So it could be Dorian or melodic minor. You can land on any of those notes. They sound so good. And notice the shifting. D minor 6. So I'm just following that outline. This is what's important for practicing. We could do it here. But you start kind of getting into some scalar style playing by thinking that. And then for the E7, I still prefer this. That's what I nicknamed the caravan hack. But it's just taking these two triads, E for the E7, E and F. Get that dark. Now the scale that's coming out of, the parent scale, is A harmonic minor. It's the 6 notes from the A harmonic minor scale. And you gotta, again, know your E triad shapes. And then A minor, D minor. So again, that could be a whole nother approach to soloing on minor chords and dominant chords. And yes, you could do it on major chords, by the way. A major. So pretty. So all I'm doing is taking the A minor, A major triad, and the B minor. But I'm creating a scalar style sound. And this has been nicknamed, I think recently by some YouTuber probably, the Dickie Bet scale. Just thinking that. And then D major, Again, E major. Now I'm going, now for the E, I'm kind of thinking like a happy sound, the major. And the only note you want to watch is the 3. You want to watch 3 to 4 as a half step. It's very pretty. Minor. So that's a huge topic and a huge study. Again, but to me, it's still part of that whole triad method of soloing. So now I'm going to demonstrate scale playing. We all love scales, and what I've demonstrated so far was actually more outlining, chord tones, a lot of thinking involved. So if you don't want to think as much, there's essentially 2 scales I would recommend. The first being, and the easiest, being the pentatonic minor, A minor. Generally, I would say that's more of the rock approach, but hey, you know, you got to be able to do that still, nevertheless. And along with that A minor penta, I add in liberally the blue note, the flat 5. And I do this quite a bit when I'm soloing on minor swing. You know, try treating it more like a blues. So here's an example of that A minor penta with the added blue note, the flat 5. Right there in that octave. Right there in that octave. And sometimes I'll go up here. So I kind of say, you know, basing off that, of course there's 5 positions, but I'm only going to demonstrate in the most common position right off the root. So here's a backing track to demonstrate. You can't hear it. Now I want to do some triads, but I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to sing more blues. Oh, okay, add into the D minor note. It's hard for me sometimes not to think about the chord because I hear it. Now I'm going to add in some chord tones. Just those little arpeggios. Blues. This little lick. Easy arpeggios. Blues. Blues. More blues. Triads. Blues. More blues. Maybe some triads. Now I'm starting to mix and match. Blues. Lick. That was arpeggio. Maybe the diminish. Embellishments. Now I'm starting to mix and match. So I'm going to talk about another scale here that I really wanted to use, but I was trying not to use it for the demonstration, is the harmonic minor scale. So those would be the 2 scales I would recommend for minor swing. Of course, this minor pentatonic / blues, but then the harmonic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale contains the A harmonic minor, contains A, C, E, that's A minor, D, F, A, that's a D minor, and E, G sharp, B, D. It contains those chord tones, the A minor triad, D minor triad, and the E7. So it contains all those notes. Not the 6, it doesn't have an F sharp, but that's okay. That's the only note it doesn't contain. So I'm going to put the backing track back on. It's kind of hard to hear. I'm going to turn it up just a notch so I can hopefully play in time. Here's A minor, harmonic minor. Okay, that would be the next scale I would use. The next scale after that would be melodic minor. I'm not going to demonstrate that though. I'll just stop here on this because that's a good place to be at, combining scales, arpeggios, triads, you know, some licks, those little ending licks. You got a lot of stuff going on here. So check it out. Harmonic minor, I'm going to run up and down. Then I'm just going to kind of play loosely, freely off it. Let me start from the beginning here. I'm just going to start by going up and down the scale. Now I'm going to try to phrase. I don't want to run up and down, just a scale. Harmonic minor. Notice the chord tones. Diminish. More harmonic minor scale. A little open string. Right up the scale. Got to throw in some gypsy picking too, but that's still out of the harmonic minor scale. So I'm just talking about playing scalar. The scale I really wanted to do was the melodic minor, but I kind of was resisting to do the melodic minor. But I'll just demonstrate this. So again, that's to me the next scale to add. There's a ton of scales we could do. We could play scales all day long. But again, if I were to have to choose, I would say start with the minor pentatonic blues and then the harmonic minor. Those two scales you can play over all those chords, all three of the chords, and not have to worry about which chord you're on, essentially. Just kind of, you know, play it pretty loosely. You'll hear me kind of going. So then we just want to start to mix and match, and that will happen again, you know, by doing these studies separately. The triads, triad embellishments, the diagonal arpeggios, you know, the easy arpeggios in one octave, and then the scales, the pentatonic and the minor blues and the harmonic minor. There you go. That should give you lots of ideas, at least for soloing on minor swing, and then that would be applied to your other favorite standards in gypsy jazz, to Dark Eyes, to Swing Chaton, Bossa Dorado, to standards like All of Me, After You've Gone, I'll See in My Dreams, where they start to have more chords. So if you want to have a strategy for minor swing, the really nice one is to focus on that harmonic minor scale on the dominant chord, on the E7 or the B flat 7 for that matter, to create that tension, because harmonic minor scale has tension, and I talked about this before. If you were to play that harmonic minor scale on the E7, you get a flat 9 and a sharp 5. Beautiful, you know, I've talked about that chord. I call it the harmonic minor chord almost. E7 flat 9, and then when I resolve it to A minor 6, it feels resolved. Then there I could do the blues. Tension, harmonic minor, resolve, blues, or melodic minor, my favorite. Right on the face value, that was A melodic minor. That would be next level again. I'm already kind of going there, but I would say harmonic minor, melodic. So you can kind of create some tension resolution, or harmonic blues. D minor, blues, still. And I was just doing the A minor. A minor sounds so good on that D minor. That's that Wes Montgomery sound, you know. Get the 9. It sounds more modern. But you don't have to worry about what scale to use on a D minor. Just do what you do on A. Unless you want to like specifically target that D minor. Then you could Pat Martinoize it and play D melodic minor. You kind of just do the minor right on the D minor, and then go back to A minor. But again, we're talking about just some simple soloing strategies. Quote simple, right? After you go through all the basic stuff, the triads and arpeggios and stuff. That's a beautiful strategy. Minor pentatonic minor blues on the A minor and D minor, harmonic minor on the E7. So another soloing approach Django used, and Wes Montgomery, everybody uses it, guitar players, is chordal soloing. So you have A minor swing, you have A minor 6, A minor 6, A minor 6, A minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 6. Same shapes, you just got to make sure you know where they're at. And then for the E7, I'm going to do the diminished sub, G sharp dim, B dim. I'm naming it from the top note, by the way, D dim, same shape, back to A minor 6. I'm kind of weaving through the song. D minor 6, A minor 6, E7. There's that harmonic minor chord. See what I did there? I took the diminished and I moved this finger over to get the sharp 5. And then A minor 6. Top, A minor 6. Oh, let me talk about that for a second. Here's a good exercise. G sharp dim. Going up the harmonic minor scale, you have this. Add a note. And this. And this. And this. And this. And this. So on the E, I'm going to whack the low E string here. I'm going to do this. So we can kind of add those notes, beautiful notes. And we can do that, of course, with the A minor. So we could do this. If you wanted like a scale, you could do this. So that's a beautiful way to add some notes into your soloing. It's pretty obvious because a lot of people do this. Just to get a little bit of movement. Following the chords, this progression. There I did a little blues like with a diminished. Then I went top. That's a chord solo. And I'm just doing these half step side slipping, lower neighbor, like this. With chords. And like this. With chords. That's how easy it is to create some movement, just like we're going. Add some rhythm. And there was the Barry Harris method, A minor 6, diminished 7, A minor 6, diminished 7, going to D minor. We can add some movement going through this, so we have and add some scales. But anyways, most people when they're doing some chord soloing a la Django is rather simple. Mix in some triads, tritones up. always say the chord is A minor 6. Keep track of the progression. That's important. E7, A minor 6. Now I'm on another topic, cliches, you know, those minor cliches. Stuff like that. And more embellishments, add 9 arpeggios. Now we're just going for it all. This is the you know, like the end of the fireworks display. I mean, we're adding all of the tricks, you know, and of course, lastly, very importantly, you know, also study Django Reinhardt, get some of those Django licks and ideas too. Specifically, like starting off your solo. This one thing I was kind of noticing is when it's your turn to solo, if you're just after you go right here. Maybe just have a lead in, and Django did this too. You know, those little things, like those are like little pickup notes that can really kick off a solo and make it exciting just by having those, or this. You know, just like a little lick that helps pull the listener right into the solo. So instead of waiting for the downbeat of the chords at the beginning of solo, start with pickup notes, essentially, is what I'm saying. That's really a nice way to help lead in the solo. You might go, oh, and by the way, I don't know what melody. I think I was playing an outro melody. That's there we go. I should know. I think I know minor swing after playing for 25 years, right? Then I might go. So I might go. Maybe just something that would grab the listener's attention right away. That was a tritone sublick. So again, you know, try to have these licks, I'll just say, that worked out just like an ending lick. So yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You know, I just worked it in there, that lick. 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, again, those are 3 licks there, and then that other one from that other solo, that was in the 1949 solo. So again, practice those. Those are like, I should make a little study where it's just showing, you know, 5 entry licks into your solo to kick off the solo. So that's the last thing I'll talk about there. That's a wide variety there of ideas for strategies for minor swing, from single notes, triads, arpeggios, outlining, some subs, and embellishments, of course, and to chord soloing too. So just to end this on chord soloing, here's what I recommend for practicing it. Stay in one position at first. So we have A minor 6, D minor 6, E7, I'll say flat 9, that means diminished sub, A minor 6. So just show you in time, 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor 6, A minor 6. And notice how it. Next position, A minor 6. Notice the really liberal use of those side slipping, the half step. D minor 6 here. Diminish it. A minor 6. Notice the Charleston rhythm to make it swing. Next position. Diminish it. Last position. D minor. That's how I would recommend. Diminish it. Notice how I'm thinking of that D minor 6, A minor 6. Diminish. Now I can maybe add 2. Maybe 3. 4. If you want to get fancy, not necessary. And I'm starting to go off into some of those other techniques that we talked about. Again, all of this will just be, you know, you'll be free with it, and it's really fun. That's like I say, really fun to start to combine all of these techniques. But I actually recommend practicing them separately. Triad embellishments, easy arpeggios. I know I said this. Diagonal arpeggios, blues scales, pentatonic, harmonic minors, a lot of stuff. Chords, chords inversions, including triads and 7th chords and 6th chords. What I just demonstrated, 6 chords really, and then have fun.